over at the Hastings Middle School garden. I'm standing in front of their new dome, which is really fascinating. I'm excited about this. So here we are in the dome, and this is just a really wonderful place. And today we're going to be talking with Jason Stoddard, who is the brains behind this operation. He's been running this garden for a few years now, and he is quite the expert on things, and we will just learn some stuff about gardening that you can learn how you can come participate in this one, or maybe even pick up something to do at home in your gardens. Alright, well, hello, this is Jason, and like I said, he's kind of the garden guru genius. So, what kind of inspired the community garden?
Getting kids outside for science class, having hands-on opportunities. There was a program quite a few years ago called Outdoor Ed, and that went away. So we felt it was best to provide students with the opportunity to get dirty and play in the dirt. And then there's a lot of other reasons why we do the gardening, not primarily for food.
And this has been going on since 2018?
I believe this is the 8th season of gardening. So we've made it over the hump, and I feel that we're pretty established now. Getting closer to sustainability.
So obviously the dome is the newest expansion, but what are some other expansions? Like what's the history of the garden?
We expand upon the garden about, I think every year we add a little bit of room. We're going into our 4th season of being really heavy on flowers as well as the vegetables. This space was added to provide year-long gardening because students are getting out of school in May and then rejoining us in August. A lot of kids do show up in the summertime to garden, but this allows us to use this as a classroom year-round, whereas when class is getting started in the fall, you have a new group of kids that aren't attached to the garden, and then right now these kids are on their way out and we're just getting ready to plant. So this provides an opportunity to have a hands-on learning and attach this to the standards year-round.
So is it just for the science classes? Like, is it only in the 7th grade science that they get to come out here and do this kind of stuff?
No, this will be available for all classes. I know that our 7th grade English department's been utilizing it already for creative writing, a place for kids to get out here to a new environment, which hopefully expands their creativity.
Have you had, with this being 8 years, do you have a lot of kids that have come back since when they leave middle school?
Yeah, we've got quite a few high school kids that come back, and then even kids that are out of high school and college that come back and join us. So I'd say every garden night there's a surprise from somebody that I had in class many years ago.
And what's a garden night?
Garden nights, we didn't do them last year due to COVID, but this year we will open them up, not this Monday, but next Monday. And before the days get long, we'll start at 5:30 and go till 7. And it's an opportunity for the community to show up and pitch in. And it's also an opportunity for kids to stay connected to the school and their teachers throughout the summer. And so on a regular garden night, we garden maintenance. Move mulch, plant, harvest, figure out how to distribute the food. And then a lot of times, within the last few years, a lot of our evenings have also centered on cooking. So we've done a lot of demonstrations on how to utilize the available produce, but also just gathering with food is always nice for those who attend.
I've definitely been coming to garden nights for the last 5 or so years. Or really, anyway. And it's just a really good sense of getting to see different people in the community. Because you have more than just students and teachers that come, right?
Yeah, the goal is to get students, parents, teachers, and then community members all on the same page. or to get them interacting with each other.
I've seen a lot of other library patrons that have come out here. There's some farmers and things like that. It's really exciting to see all of the people that come out, and I think every year you're just kind of hoping to bring people in, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to participate, what do they have to do?
Well, we could collaborate this with the public library as well, but we do have a Facebook page where we make our posts that we will be having a garden night. Additional, we have additional options for students where we'll send a remind message out, and we get in touch with them and their parents that way, or through school email. We're looking for alternative ways. For example, we've got a student that's going to be working on a web page that would be something we could update and the public could access. But yeah, and then the other thing is that everybody is welcome. And we do like to have people come to garden nights prior to, we hope that they gain comfort, that their comfort levels increase, and then this becomes a place that they routinely visit when they need to stop it.
So are there any rules, if you ran out of tomatoes and you need a tomato for some salsa, is there any rules for stopping by the garden and just grabbing a tomato?
What we're trying to work on is the sustainability of the space. And so a lot of the conversation in class and with our student gardeners is how do we create an environment where sustainability is not free. We have to have the hands that are in the dirt. We have to have donations. So it's a huge big picture. So right now students are working on giving away 1,000 plants this year, which the kids do a lot of that work. So it is pretty easy to make a large difference that way. But without funding and without people doing the work, in the long run there won't be food to give away. So we like to look at it as a work exchange program where individuals come, show, and when they're familiar with the space, yeah. And we'd also like the harvest to be limited to a day or two out from consumption. So we're not gathering produce for a week or two, but we're gathering produce that we can take home and use with that.
And a lot of that harvesting is done at garden nights?
Yeah, a lot of the harvesting is done at garden nights. We're working on trying to set up a little bit of a system where we're able to have available food up front, but it is what it is. Some produce goes out the door really quick, some produce stays, some produce gets missed. Sometimes we have too much, sometimes we don't have enough.
That's exciting. What are you going to be growing now versus what do you start with and then grow later?
Right now we're getting ready to put our brassicas out, which would be your kohlrabi, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts. So those plants are a little more cold hardy than the rest. Lettuce to be seeded, cilantro. Some of our herbs can go out now that are a little bit more tolerant to the cold temperatures at night. And then after the May 15 day, probably closer to June 1st, we'll start putting our plants out that love to eat. So for example, our tomatoes and our peppers and our eggplants can go out as it starts to warm up.
And those have all been seeded here in the dome?
Yeah.
So if you are starting a garden at home this time of year, what are some things that you can plant, from seed down? Is there anything, herbs and stuff?
Onions, snap peas, the oregano, and thyme are pretty hardy. You could put cilantro seed in if I didn't say that already. Lettuce, and then those brassica crops could be going in now.
And then, what do you do do you use pesticides, or what kind of stuff do you guys, I know you guys like to brainstorm and use that as teaching things, but what kind of stuff do you use to take care of it?
Well, we try to create an environment that's going to be inviting to all insects, so hopefully the natural ecosystem takes over. But we do try natural biological remedies.
So the companion?
Well, we've tried good companion planting. We try rotating our our crops around the garden so we don't get hit again in the same spot, say the following year. We've tried a number of biological products that are natural that will take care of organisms. But really, we lose a lot of, we sacrifice a little bit of our produce, sometimes more than we would like, to the pests because we're not using any of the harmful chemicals out there.
That's awesome. Have you ever had like a mass crop failure, because of bugs or anything?
Yeah, and they kind of rotate through. So blister beetles were really bad one year, and they defoliated all of our eggplants and all of our potatoes. I'm trying to think of other things. Cucumber beetles are always really bad out here. So if there's any natural remedies for that, that would be great. We're tending to now start our cucumbers a little bit later in the year, just because of pest problems that develop when we start them outside so early. But usually we were quite successful. We've had some nematode issues with garlic, and that's as easy as just rotating the garlic to another part of the garden, but also making sure we're cleaning our tools before we use tools in this section and this section. So. And that's the great part. With all the different brains put together out here, there's a lot of learning that happens. The garden just represents one big problem that we're always trying to solve. And it's always changing. And that's really good for the kids to see that we don't know everything that's going on, and that we really do utilize their help and their research in solving the problems that we run into.
And the kids, a lot of times you let them pick what you grow, right?
Yeah, so the students, we get the catalog starting in December and January, and the students start going through the catalogs and they start marking the different plant varieties that they would like to have or see in the garden. And then they start all of the seeds inside. And the great thing is now we can move these plants out here and nurture them out here before we bring them out there. Before this, we also will utilize an off-campus greenhouse at another teacher's house.
Do you ever get any strange requests from the kids?
Yeah, they're all strange. So when it comes to melons or it comes to cucumbers, and that's what makes this place fun, because you're going to come across tomatoes you've never heard of, or plants that you wouldn't find in the store or usually in the farmer's market.
What's one of the strangest this year that you've come across?
Well, the python snake beans are kind of an interesting plant. We're trying to shell vine.
Like snakes when they grow?
They are pretty big. A lot of the melons come from a lot of off-the-wall melons we have out there. Tomato varieties, I think we have 50 different varieties of tomatoes started this year. Flowers are lots of fun. A lot of flowers that you're not usually going to see in a greenhouse or available at your local retailer.
And flowers are one of those things where you encourage people to come and get their taste, right?
Yeah, and so usually, what we've done in the past is people drop off their vases or their canning jars, or so we kind of have this big, large cycling of glassware down there, and that's stored in a little cupboard. And there's always trimming shears out there for individuals to come and pick and deliver flowers. So lots and lots of flowers to be given away.
On garden nights, do you have people that know about flowers to kind of show you which ones are good to cut and arrange and all of that stuff?
Yeah, so each garden night there's always somebody out here that's somewhat knowledgeable about the flowers and the arranging, and so yeah, easy to get set up with that if you were to come out.
That's exciting. You're talking about people volunteering and coming and helping. You talked a little bit about you're wanting to give plants away. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then do you have do you do like a seed catalog or anything? Like if people need seeds?
We'll have some seeds to give away. I mean, we'll have a large amount of basil seed, and cilantro seed, some herb seed. We'll have a lot of peppers and tomatoes to give away this year. We set a goal of 2,000 plants. I don't know if we're going to hit that this year. But you know, this whole giveaway was kind of inspired by last year's COVID, because it was very difficult to get seeds last year not because they ran out, but they were having a hard time fulfilling orders. And then even local stores were running out of plants and seeds before people were even needing to be putting those in the ground. So we figured that it's probably going to be similar to last season. Stuff's going to start disappearing. More people are finding an interest in gardening. And we'll make our plants available after the frost date, so we know that they'll find homes where they're not going to get potentially frozen, although I don't know if we'll see a freeze before May 15th. But just a way of getting plants into the the hands of people, and at a free to affordable rate. No, without the support of Hastings, the community and the donors and the volunteers out there, a place like this doesn't exist. And so, the big driving, designing factor is designing this space for people to enjoy, community members to enjoy. Right now, we're working on raising funds for a new project, which is going to be to put a 10-foot deck on the west side of the dome, which would be a great place to see a sunset, and also a nice place for students to have class outdoors. But yeah, pay attention to the announcements, and if you have questions, you can email myself, Jason Stoddard, or Jordan Binfield. We'd be more than happy to answer questions, meet you out here if that is something that is needed. Or if you had a group that needed a tour, we have individuals that are available to provide tours and those opportunities.
And your Facebook page is just the Hastings Middle School Garden?
HMS Garden.
HMS Garden. All right, well, I think that's about all that we have for today, but thank you very much for letting us come out.
Hi, thank you, Erica, for that wonderful tour of the Garden Dome and all the volunteers that make the Hastings Middle School Garden accessible for everyone. Today we're going to show you an easy recipe with a spring vegetable, which is a radish. And it's a very simple recipe. You need radishes, and you can leave some of the top on. You can even leave the little tail on. You need olive oil, a lemon, parsley, and kosher salt. That's it, guys. So you can take your radishes, and some of them may be kind of big. You just want to cut them down. You kind of want some smaller ones. You can leave those whole. So we're going to go through here. And yes, we're leaving on all of that goodness. That's a big one. Those are small. You need about 2 to 3 bunches, depending on how many you get in a bunch. I want to go through and make sure that they're good, no soft spots. I think we better trim up some of these and have them. Now I have a grill pan that I'm going to use because it kind of gives you some grill marks on the radishes themselves. We are roasting these in the oven. And the grill marks will give them, or the grill pan will give them those little marks that we like on our grilled food. I have not tried grilled radishes or cooked radishes. I've been wanting to. So this really gave me an opportunity to explore Now on radishes, the colder the weather when they grow, the milder they are, which I have found to be interesting. We're going to take about 4 tablespoons of the olive oil, and we're just going to drizzle it over the radishes. And we are going to toss them. Give them a good mix up. And we're going to give it some kosher salt. Because who can't eat a radish without some salt? Not me. And we're going to give them a good toss in the oil. Now, believe it or not, guys, we're just about done. That's how easy this prep is. I'll wash my hands. And we're going to put the lemon into some wedges. It's just going to add a little acidity to the recipe. And we're just going to toss those in there. Got a tough little lemon there. This is it, guys. We're ready to roast. It's 350-degree oven for 20 minutes. We'll be back. All right, 20 minutes have gone by in a flash. Look at this, you guys. They're just gorgeous. Just absolutely gorgeous. Now you're going to take your parsley and you're just going to shave a little bit off because we're going to top it with some chopped parsley. So let's get this all chopped up. I did prep everything yesterday, so I washed my radishes and my parsley, got everything all ready to go. Alright, we're going to top it with a little bit of parsley, just for some added color and flavor. Look at this, guys. Oh, it just looks so good. Now we're going to taste. Grab me a couple of these. Look at that. It's hot. Oop, there goes my parsley. Cut one of these down a little bit. Just nice and soft. Oh, it's so good. It took a lot of the bite out of the radish. It has kind of a crispy texture, but kind of a soft texture. Could probably use a little more salt, but it's really good. Definitely recommend roasted radishes. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. I hope you guys really enjoyed our radish recipe and our garden tour. Stay tuned, because starting next month in June, we're going to have a couple of really kind of far out there recipes. They're not going to be your typical recipes, so I hope you stay tuned and see what's coming. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.